evening, film fans. Welcome to a spectacular episode of the Film Fan Club Show, where the scares are real and the laughter is even scarier. I am Sam Carrico. It's October. You know what that means? All the tricks and the treats from Hollywood are out in full force. Coming up, series veteran Peyton Grufik will join us to break down some of this year's overlooked horror movies. But first, let's dive into the eeriest headlines, shall we? Bo DeMaio threw some serious shade at Marvel and Disney recently, claiming egregious prejudicial misconduct while he was working on X-Men 97 and the upcoming Blade reboot. He posted this all on his OnlyFans account. Yeah, you can imagine how I felt trying to explain that bank charge. No, honey, it's for a news story. And speaking of superhero legends, we had to say goodbye to two giants recently, James Earl Jones and Maggie Smith. Can someone please check on Hollywood? Because it feels like we're living in a horror movie where all the iconic voices and talents are disappearing. At this pace, Darth Vader might start sounding like a confused millennial. The Force? Not sure what that is, bro. J.K. Rowling reportedly found the name McGonagall on a gravestone, proving even in death, people were better at writing than her. Now that Dame Maggie Smith, who brilliantly played McGonagall, has passed, it leaves me to wonder if Rowling will raid her gravestone next for some new inspiration. Maybe that's why her new books feel so dead inside. Now, in the spirit of Halloween, here's a real fright. I heard that theater owners, some, are planning to add pickleball, ropes courses, and bowling to the movie-going experience. Yeah, because when I settle in for some horror flicks, I definitely want to be dodging balls and navigating a ropes course. Oh no, Jason's right behind me. Let's see if I can get a good score on lane 7. Get this, Scream 7 is now set for a 2026 release date. How does that work? At this point, the killer must have a gym membership because he's been running around doing cardio for 7 films. Yeah, I know I've been stabbed, but can I finish this last Pilates session before the credits roll? The film will feature the return of Neve Campbell and Courtney Cox, depending on how the war in Gaza goes. And while we're talking about thrills, there's a segue, Paramount is cooking up a live-action Rugrats movie, but it's featuring CGI babies. I guess the adults will be played by real people and the baby characters will be CGI. I mean, Hollywood has a great track record with that sort of thing already. Yeah, imagine that for 90 minutes. Now there's a horror flick. Here's a kicker. DC Studios is diving into an animated Robin origin story called Dynamic Duo. It's going to feature Dick Grayson and Jason Todd. Yeah, because when I think of Halloween, I think of spandex-clad teenagers grappling with their identity issues. Honestly, it feels like they're just throwing everything at the wall to see what sticks at this point. I mean, was James Gunn not serious whenever he said everything in the DCU was gonna be connected? I can't wait to hear the pitch. So it's totally not related to our cinematic universe, but this Robin has feelings, and they're animated. I mean, what's next? I mean, an animated show about Ace, the Bat Hound, asking what it means to be a dog in Gotham? Boo! James Earl Jones, is that you? Okay, we've got a great show for you lined up. Let's get right into our discussion of 2024's horror flicks with Peyton Grufik.
All right, joining me now, returning champion, friend of the show, actor based in Los Angeles, California, Peyton Grufik is here again. How are you, man?
I'm doing good. I like champion.
Yeah,
that's good. I don't hear that a lot.
Well, you know, that's what you are. A champion in my heart. You know, you're here. You're episode 99. You've been here since, I think, January of 2016 was your first appearance on the Film Fan Club show.
Holy.
As we approach episode 100, it's just like amazing how far we've come. You know,
right?
Here we are. So
here we are.
We've done it. We've done it. I don't know what it is, but we've done it.
We have done it.
Hey,
don't look too deep into it.
It's Halloween season. Don't look too deep in it. We're going to celebrate a couple of Halloween movies. Another reason to have you on. You're a big horror fan. You like a lot of horror movies. I wanted to ask you before we start getting into a couple that we're going to talk about today, kind of catching up on the 2024 horror movies. How do you feel, just kind of temperature check, how do you feel this year has been for horror movies, kind of as you're looking back as we're heading into October?
I think my radar for how good horror films has been this year is ever since COVID, me and my wife have been going to the movie theater less and less, not because of the fear of being around people or anything, but I think we just got really comfortable watching movies at home
Sure.
and everything. And I think most people are that way too. They just really are like, damn, I really enjoy watching movies at home. So it really takes a lot for me to go out and be like, I have to see this movie day one. And I do think I enjoyed a lot of the films I saw day one, but I didn't see that many,
Hmm.
maybe like three or four
Mm.
this year. Uh, but I'm thinking about previous years, and that might be more than I've done before. But we've just become real big fans of just we have a small time video shop guy where it's literally his movie collection that you $3 and you
Oh,
can
that's
rent the
awesome.
movie for a week. We've been going and supporting him, feeling like the Blockbuster days and renting movies. Like we just watched Lisa Frankenstein for the first time
Oh,
and
yeah.
absolutely loved it and turn that back. Like that's what we've been doing right now. Not necessarily going to the movie theaters, but going and checking out old movies we haven't watched yet.
Yeah, that's what I love about Halloween, October. It does give me a chance to not only watch a lot of the, pay attention to some of the horror movies that I missed out on this year, but also I do. Last year I did 31 Halloween movies in 31 days, and there are movies like the classic Nightmare on Elm Street, classic Friday the 13th, but also a couple modern cult classics like Trick or Treat that I hadn't seen before.
Hmm.
So I met my goal of watching 31 movies last October, and now I'm going to try and do it again this October. So hopefully I'll stay tuned for progress on that. But yeah, it gives me a chance to look back on this year in horror movies. I didn't like you, I didn't see a lot of them in theaters, but it kind of gave me a good chance to go back. Although the first one, so I'm going to throw a couple of movies at you. Some of these movies for our audience, some of them Peyton has seen, some of them I've seen, some of them we're both have seen, but I'll ask you, what your impression is before I get into my review. This first one, I don't think you've seen, but Speak No Evil with James McAvoy. It's a remake, I guess, of a foreign film. You told me
Yeah.
you weren't going to see it, so I wanted to ask why before I tell you about why I did see it.
So I got a whole story behind it now. So me and my wife, I forgot what movie we were seeing, but the Speak No Evil trailer came on, and I stand by this. I think that was a god awful trailer. It looked very cliche and boring to me. The only thing that looked entertaining was James McAvoy
Right.
in that film. And we both kind of give each other reactions after a trailer to see how we're both feeling about it. And we both did the after that. And so that's just our mutual. We're probably not going to go and check it out. But I have been hearing buzzing that it might be a pretty damn entertaining movie. And I told my wife that, and she's like, I'm still not going to see it. So we're in no hurry to go and see it. But I have been hearing things that it might actually be an entertaining movie. I do hear a lot of it is because of James McAvoy, so I'm
Yeah.
curious to hear what you have to say. So that was correct from what I was receiving from the trailer and everything, but it might be more than meets the eye. So I'm really excited to hear what you have to say.
So yeah, I think that's a great way to put it. It's a pretty cliche kind of premise. You spend a weekend with your new friends, but your new friends are actually crazy or they're crazy killers, kind of that's paint by the numbers you would think, but it is very much elevated by James McAvoy. He's giving like I would say a split level performance in this. Some of it is like so over the top that like there's a moment like the turn, of course, there's going to be a turn, when things go from kind of weird but normal to just crazy at the beginning of the third act, that turn in this movie is kind of I laughed at it, and I don't know if that was intentional on the film's part, or I don't know if it was or if it was like if the movie is. I think I want to say the movie is tongue in cheek. I had fun with it. I also recently watched Megalopolis, and that's a movie where I
Oh my
think
God.
it's not very tongue in cheek at all. Like I think that when you laugh at Megalopolis, you're laughing at the movie, not with the movie. I want to say with Speak No Evil, you're laughing with the movie a little bit more. So I appreciate it on that level. I don't know if it's I saw it on I think it came out on September 13th. And I want to say I saw it on like Friday the 13th. So that was kind of it was a fun spooky vibe. I was like, why not? But I go to the theaters a lot. So if you're kind of like I'd rather in the comfort of my home watch it with my wife, rent it from the local video shop. I think this would probably be one of those that I wouldn't advocate against waiting. You know what I mean?
Right,
It's
right.
good. I would watch it, but you don't have to rush out and see it or anything.
Yeah. Can I rewind to Megalopolis real quick?
Of course. Yeah.
I am hearing so many reports of people leaving the theater.
It's not that
during that
bad.
movie.
So my theater was packed and everybody was having a fun time. But again, I think they
Okay.
were laughing at the movie. I think it was like some of the acting choices I'm sure you've seen, like some of the like Adam Driver line deliveries are just so like bizarre that it's
Yeah.
a funny movie. But again, I don't think that's intentional.
I was reading a tweet from one of I follow a horror YouTube channel called Dead Meat and everything, and one of the people from that were like, so many people just got up and left during Megalopolis, and I was like, there's no way it's that bad, right? Like it's your corny monster movie shit,
Yeah.
like, you know?
I'd say I've sat through way worse, you know.
Yeah.
Megalopolis was like it's trying it's trying so hard to be Oscar bait, you know. It's trying so hard to be, you know, because it's Francis Ford Coppola. It wants to be like a smart uh mediation on society and everything, but it's so like surface level. It's so like I don't know, like thoughts that we've all thought, but like and it doesn't examine these thoughts at all. So it's just so like what they're going for is so different from what they came up with that it's just
Yeah.
I think it's a bizarre like way it's a bizarre like just story in filmmaking. So I couldn't help but watch it, but I don't know if like that's going to be well, I think it was like fifth at the box office, right? I think it did
Oh, wait, was
horribly.
it?
Yeah, it did
Really?
horribly at the box office. So I don't think that's going to have broad appeal. I think Speak No Evil has more broad appeal, and it might even be a better movie than Megalopolis.
Damn. I could not have guessed that coming at all.
So yeah, maybe you'll change your mind. Maybe you'll watch it. We have a couple more if you want to tell us about these two movies I haven't seen. So I'm very curious to hear what you think about Trap and what you think about Longlegs. You already told me a little bit that you have a hot take on Longlegs, but
I
I'd like to
do.
hear about these two.
Yeah, which one do you want first? You want to start
Let's
squeaky
do,
clean?
yeah, let's go Trap. I feel like that's a little bit more less controversial, and then we'll go into
Yeah.
Longlegs.
Trap's got an easy answer. And this might be a hot take too, but I don't think it's a hot take because I think people are misunderstanding the movie. Uh I loved Trap so
Okay.
much because you're not supposed to take Trap seriously. And I think that was very clear from the marketing of the film. Is I thought for some reason I think people thought they were going to go in and see like a psychological like inside the mind of a killer. How is the killer going to get out of it? And it's like, no, it's Josh Hartnett with his daughter in a concert, and he's trying to find a way to get out through these bizarre circumstances. It's just a fun movie. It's not trying to be anything groundbreaking. Can I do a slight spoiler?
Sure. Yeah,
Can
I
I?
feel like it's been
Okay.
out long enough at this point.
Yeah, it's just a slight spoiler. There's no Shyamalan twist in this movie.
Oh,
There's
wow.
none.
Is he
Zero.
is that do you think that helps the movie?
I like it was one of those things where I was sitting there going like, what's the big twist gonna be? And I was not disappointed that there wasn't one because I think if there was some like weird twist, it would have taken away from a lot of the stuff they were doing it. Like I know a lot of people were like, from the marketing, it makes it very clear they want you to know Josh Hartnett is the killer
Yeah.
in this movie and everything. So there was theories that maybe it's the daughter, maybe he's trying to protect the person who's the
Oh.
killer. Maybe the person he has locked up is the killer and he doesn't want the police to like get him or something. It's like that's all good theories and everything, but it's just Josh Hartnett cranked up to 200%. I don't know if you're on TikTok at all, but there's people doing impressions of him and they're so accurate where he's like, "Hey Riley, you want an extra crispy Lady Raven corn dog? I'll go get it real quick." Just so that he can like sneak out and do like weird shit and everything.
Yeah.
And that's all it is. It's fun. And people are like, the movie wasn't scary. It was funny. And it's like, it's trying to be funny. This
Okay.
is very in the spirit of The Visit,
Yeah,
also
with
from M. Night
one of
Shyamalan.
my we talk about The Visit often. One of my favorites
Yes.
from Shyamalan.
It's a horror comedy leaning so much more. It's not even horror, it's thriller comedy
Right.
leading so much more into the comedy of all this because it's just this zany guy running around. And it's like, how the fuck is he getting away with all of this? It's mainly luck he gets out of this place, if anything. And it's just hilarious, but it's intentionally hilarious. But I think a lot of audiences were like, it's hilarious and that makes it bad. And it's like, no, no,
Yeah.
no, no, no. It was trying to be hilarious. I think a lot of people missed the mark on that.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm actually I had no interest. I'll be honest. I had no interest in seeing Trap until our conversation just now. But now you're kind of selling me on it. So this might be one of those that when it comes around is at my local video store down the street, I might turn around and check it out. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I highly recommend just maybe pop an edible, drink some drinks, and you're just gonna have a fun time.
Is Shyamalan back? I mean, this is a very clickbait thing to say, but or to ask, but is Shyamalan so back?
Okay, this is not the Shyamalan is back movie by any means. I will say that because from a filmmaking perspective, it doesn't do anything new.
Okay.
All it is it's a fun movie. Um, the last really good Shyamalan film, in my opinion, was Split. I think
Yeah.
that was his last objectively like really good film and
Yeah.
everything. Because after that, we had Glass, which wasn't
Glass.
so great. The Beach That Makes You Old, hated that. Uh, Knock at the
The
Cabin,
Cabin, yeah.
didn't even see it, but I was told it was mediocre.
That's what I've heard too.
And now we're here.
Okay.
And it's just fun.
Maybe
It's
that's what he
probably better.
needs. That's maybe what he needs. Just no big twist, no crazy premise, just a
Yeah.
solid film. And
One more
that's good for him.
interjection about it, just
Okay.
because I would not be doing my part if I did not warn about this. This is a Nepo movie in the
Uh,
end. Because if you do not know, the concert they are going to, uh, under the name Lady Raven, that is his daughter.
Shyamalan's daughter?
That is Shyamalan's daughter, who is a musical artist, has her own career and everything. And
Uh,
the first 10 minutes of the film are concert recordings of
that's
original
awesome.
songs she made for the movie. So once you get past that, you're good.
That's
Can
so
she
blatant
act?
though.
It's
That's
so
awesome.
blatant, and he's so unapologetic for it. But I kind of knew this was going to happen. So again, I think a lot of people just didn't know what they were getting into. I fully knew what I was getting into, so I was able to look past a lot of this stuff. I was not prepared for how much acting she was going to have to do in the third act,
Oh.
which cannot. Uh, the third act is the roughest of the
Okay.
acts in the
Yeah.
movie. Doesn't quite stick the landing, but the whole like concert venue stuff, it's a lot of fun.
I've heard that the most important pages of a screenplay are the first 15 pages and the last 15 pages. So if
Well, they didn't nail either of those because the first 15 pages are concert, and then the last 15 pages are
off the
something.
rails, yeah,
But
climax.
that middle part's a lot of fun.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so a tepid. We've gone from a very big praise, a very big endorsement, to a tepid endorsement
Yes,
for
yes, yes.
Trap.
There's a
Um,
couple warnings I have to give.
it,
It
it,
might just be a guilty pleasure movie for me, but
okay, yeah.
it's my due diligence to give these warnings. Nepo movie, not quite great third act.
It feels reminiscent, though, like you said, of the visit. Where yeah, it's not a fantastic film. We're
Yes,
not watching, a Citizen Kane, but I had fun watching
right.
the visit, and maybe I'll have fun with Trap as well.
Yeah,
Did you have fun with Longlegs?
we did not have fun with Longlegs.
That's I've
Uh,
heard that's TikTok loves Longlegs though. That like all the kids these days tell me that I should see Longlegs.
it's very mixed right now, and I'm actually eager to go watch it again.
Interesting.
Because here's the thing. Longlegs has what I call the hereditary effect, is what I've nicknamed it.
Okay.
Where when Hereditary was coming out, I don't know if you remember the marketing. People are like, this is the next Exorcist. And
Hmm.
it's like, that's a big fucking claim.
Right.
But like, people were passing out during the theater during The Exorcist. There were priests outside waiting to pray with people. And it's like, I know I don't know what the word is, but like, we're desensitized to a lot of
Hmm.
horror now, and that stuff is really isn't going to freak us out. So I wasn't thinking like, oh god, I'm going to like freak out during Hereditary, but it's like the scale and reaction to Hereditary is going to be that, and it's 100% my fault that I went into Hereditary and did not enjoy it as much as
Okay.
I think I should have because I overhyped myself
Yeah.
about it. And I take total blame for that. So from movies going forward, I did not overhype myself. But with Longlegs, what I do think happened is it was mismarketed.
Well, I remember the marketing being very like intriguing for me. There was that, of course,
Yes.
that infamous like when so and so saw Nicolas Cage in the makeup, her heartbeat went to whatever beats per minute, and I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
God, I've tried to avoid the first. I've seen little pictures here and there, but I try and avoid the full look at Nicolas Cage because I haven't seen Long Legs yet, and I want
Yeah.
to kind of have that big reveal. So there's this mystery aspect to it. And so the marketing I thought was really good at hyping up that mystery aspect that, oh my God, you got to see this kind of thing.
It
But
did.
that could backfire.
It really did backfire because what it looked like we were getting was a very suspenseful crime thriller, maybe reminiscence of like Silence of the Lambs, type of like psychological go into the mind of the killer
Yeah.
and everything. And that's not the movie we got. The marketing will not show you this. And I guess this is a slight spoiler. I'm not going to go into anything about the details because I want people who see Longlegs to make their own opinion and everything because there are people, like you mentioned, that really liked it.
Yeah.
But it is a paranormal movie.
Oh,
And you
I
would
would not have
never
thought.
get that from
Yeah.
the marketing. And that is my least favorite genre of horror is the
Hmm.
paranormal. Because in my opinion, and you could argue this with a lot of genres, they're all the same to me. I feel like there has not been a paranormal movie in a minute that has really shook up the genre uh since like maybe like The Conjuring all the way back then. That's the last time I really heard like some stir about like a big paranormal movie.
Yeah.
And people still talk about The Conjuring to this day, and they're still trying to milk the Conjuring universe
Yeah.
to this day. And that's just as soon as that's your drive, is just like, we're doing it for Satan, man. I check out mentally. My wife also checks out.
Yeah. That feels
And
a little lazy.
it felt a little lazy. And that actually that's what it comes down to is I feel like the writing in that movie was very lazy. It was very, very lazy. The acting, awesome. The cinematography, awesome. The whole just vibe, atmosphere, it's great. It's just this damn script I
Hmm.
cannot get behind. And so I don't think it's a god awful movie. I didn't leave going like, that's the worst thing I've ever seen, but I left extremely disappointed.
Right. Hmm. That's okay. That's good to know. I'm glad you mentioned the paranormal thing because, yeah, I thought it was like I definitely got a Silence of the Lambs kind of vibe. I
Yeah,
definitely thought it was going to be like yeah, like a procedural kind of investigation with a little bit of
right.
scary elements to it. I'm still very curious how it all fits together, with Nicolas Cage's performance and everything. And that's another thing I feel like people are like parodying. It's going to be a very iconic, character, very memorable character. Haven't seen the performance yet. I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah.
I have a lot
It
of movies to watch in October, so
yeah, you're getting a Nick Cage performance and that's what's great about it.
yes. I will now. I think we're back to a movie that I've seen that you haven't seen. Oh yes, Immaculate, I believe. That's Immaculate with Sydney Sweeney. I saw that. You didn't see Immaculate, did you not? Were you not interested? Were you?
I did not, and I'm going to be honest, when you texted me, I was like, damn, I thought that came out last year. Was
It
that
came
like a
out.
January horror film?
It came out the same day as Late Night with the Devil, actually. So it could have gotten
It did?
overshadowed. I believe they both came out in like March, April of 2024. I want to say.
Gotcha. That's why I didn't see it. It's because
Yeah.
I was off seeing Late Night with the Devil. But Immaculate also looked paranormal. Am I correct?
It's not actually.
It's not paranormal.
So, do you know, like, I didn't know this about the film. So I went and saw it on a whim, did not watch any of the trailers. I have the AMC A list, so I just go see movies, just be like, let's have something to do. I'm bored tonight. Let's go see a movie.
Yeah.
Immaculate. And because I'm so flippant with my movie decision choices, I was not into it first 20, 25 minutes, walked out. I could go make dinner.
Really?
I can do other things. I'm very flippant with my movie. I watched it on Hulu. Because I was like, all right, let's start. It's getting closer to Halloween. I never did finish that. Why not? I should have stayed. I enjoyed actually the twist it turned.
Okay.
Immaculate in the film. It's been out since March, April. Immaculate Conception. She gets pregnant over the course of the film. I didn't know that because I didn't see the trailer. I'm an idiot, so I didn't even know that was the
Yeah.
plot of the film. I was like, that's a fun way to go with it. And we think it's supernatural. The twist, if you can call it that, is that it's not. It's like there's this guy, like spoilers for Immaculate, this guy kind of experimenting on her. And
Gotcha.
it's a creepy guy in the place
Because
that
no, that's the vibe I got is I was like, oh, it's some supernatural demon shit. That's how she got pregnant
yeah,
and
and I
everything.
love a religious, horror. I love Midnight Mass, all that stuff. But like, I love a religious horror as well. But I enjoyed the twist that it wasn't. But I enjoyed like the ride getting there, the mystery of what is happening. Some people would say maybe it was an underwhelming finale, but I thought it was a fun subversion of that, what you expected to be the outcome. So I
Yeah.
enjoyed Immaculate. Sydney Sweeney. People have hyped up her performance, particularly in the third act. It's pretty good. Like there's a scene where she gives birth to this thing, and it's like a very well acted, like the agony is all there. It's like, wow, she's acting, like in your face acting with a capital A. And I'm like, okay, she's good. She's not just, really attractive. She's also really attractive, but in addition to that, she's a really good actress. It's
Yeah.
one of those moments where I'm like, wow, they're a movie star, has that kind of performance. She's good. It's a fine film. Am I going to recommend this is one of the 5 movies that you see this year? No, but if you're like you and I, like hey, I got time, let's watch a horror movie. It's October. I would recommend it. It was fine. Um, this last one though is Late Night with the Devil. I have seen it. You have seen it. I think we're going to be a little bit simpatico on this, but for those who don't know, you want to talk a little bit about Late Night with the Devil? Do you even like this movie?
Late Night with the Devil was my movie of the year. I was really excited for Late Night with the Devil. It because I'm not gonna say it's my favorite genre of horror, but it's my favorite guilty pleasure genre of horror is found footage.
Oh
And I
yeah.
could tell from the way the marketing was, a lot of it was going to be shot like it's an actual show and everything. I will say, going into the film, I did not know the whole thing
hmm
was going to be shot like it's on the show and everything.
hmm
So I was very surprised about that. And like 10 minutes in, it was like, I'm on board. Let's go.
Same. Yeah. I'm a big fan of Johnny Carson. I'm a big fan of Jay Leno, big fan of David Letterman. The film Fanclub show is ripping off a late night talk show formula, essentially, with the monologue and then the interview segment and everything. So like whenever I didn't know it was going to be in real time either, but I knew that it was going to be about a late night talk show on board. Then I find out it's going to be like it's all the footage of it. And then I found out they're doing it in real time. Like there's no like jumps. It's not like Birdman where there's a skipping around time. I mean, there's flashbacks, I guess, but like it was all done in real time. I loved it. I thought that was a fantastic, and there's so many surprises. I knew there was going to be a little girl that's possessed or whatever, but what's going to happen with that? There's so much to it. Character stuff. David Das, do you know his name? David Dasmole. David, what's the character?
Talking the leading man.
Yeah, what's his last name? Do you know?
I always forget.
The man from Ant-Man and the Wasp, and the
The
character that
man from Ant-Man and the Wasp.
and The Dark Knight. He was also in The Dark Knight. He almost got killed by Harvey Dent in The Dark Knight. Fantastic. And it's just great to see, somebody given a chance to be a leading man and kill it.
Yeah.
He does a great job. There's so much depth to his character that it makes what we see so much better. I feel like I'm talking a lot, though. Do you want to talk a little bit more about what you like about
No, no, you're
his
good.
performances, the performances in the film?
Yeah. No, oh my gosh. The performances were all just amazing. I know he did so much research just watching countless old 80s, 90s late night talk shows,
Yeah.
just like in his room, like would literally binge the whole things. Like he did his fucking work
Yeah.
getting to where he did, and he did such a spectacular performance. I think everybody in the cast did a spectacular performance. And I know I was just talking about earlier how kind of supernatural
So
possession
I wanted
films.
I wanted to catch you on that. So you
Yeah.
said I'm not a big fan of the paranormal. And then I'm
Yeah,
like, I did clock that in the back of my mind because a big portion of this is about some would say paranormal stuff.
it is. And I think just the atmosphere alone made me look past all of that. I think I was so hooked on it's shot like a actual late night TV show. We're set in a time period that I really like films taking place in. And just like imagining, kind of putting myself in the seat of what if I was actually watching this
Mm-hmm.
on live TV?
Mm-hmm.
What if this was real? Like, what would my reaction be to all this? And I think going on that ride compared to other supernatural horror films where I'm just kind of watching a family freak out
Yeah.
about spooky stuff happening in the house, but kind of like planting myself in that spot of like, what if this was real? Because that's kind of how it's shot. It's like you're watching this for the first time. This was live, this was broadcasted, and putting myself in that world,
Mm-hmm.
I was I was fucking jumping up and down, just giddy with joy that whole time.
It's a great way to add stakes. At the beginning, like,
Yes.
okay, his career is taking a downturn, like he needs this is make or break for him. And it's live. So like the audience is watching this. It's very like anything could even in like take away the fact that it's a horror film. Like this show just needs to go well. Like
Yeah.
and then of course add in all the other things about like, like the scary movie stuff, scary horror movie stuff that happens. All the characters you mentioned, the characters are all well, all the performances are great. I love the cynical, non-believer guy.
Yep.
I love, yeah, I love the child actor's performance as the possessed girl. Like that's child actors. I notoriously hate them. She does a fantastic job in this. It's so creepy, so unsettling. Um, David Dasmalin is a fantastic leading man. Obviously, the twist at the end of this movie I thought was unsettling and leaves you something to think about. It's
Yeah.
something that sits with you. The
It's
ending to
got
this
a
film.
good television film Hollywood commentary
Yeah,
in it right now, which is becoming more and more relevant as each day goes on. Uh
Peyton's
to
in Los Angeles. He speaks from the heart. He knows these things.
I got a cult down the street right now. I'm kidding.
He's been
One
to
thing
Bohemian Grove. Come on.
one thing there is one complaint I do have about the film, and I
Okay.
do think it's always responsible for me to talk about it because it's something I do care a lot about. Uh I do not like the use of AI art in the movie.
Yeah, it's good to. That was a big
Um
talking point when it was coming
it was a
out.
big talking point. It was not enough for me to boycott the entire film or anything like that. Like I know some people they did not want to see the film after that, and that's okay. I respect your decision to do that. It just personally wasn't enough for me to do so. But see, it was more so seeing the AI art, which were their little intermission banners that were taking a break. It was more you could have so easily gotten somebody to make these
Yeah.
literally off of like Fiverr. I feel like you could have just freelanced somebody for a couple $100 to make something close to these, but instead we did this, and I feel like they were like we did this before the whole like AI drama, for lack of a
Conversation.
better
Yeah.
term, like conversation came up and everything, but it's like I feel like you still had a lot of time to cycle these out. They're just these still frames during the film. So don't condone that. Not a fan of AI art. Hire workers, hire small businesses to do all that and everything. They'll greatly appreciate you for it. But yeah, that's my only gripe about the film.
And it's unfortunate too, because you take what could have been a near perfect product, a very, very well received product. I very much enjoyed this film. The AI art also bothers me. I'm not as outspoken about it as you are, but I think it's important to mention that it's just a shortcut that you didn't need to take, and it's a blemish on an otherwise great film that we have to mention it. Otherwise, it'd be a 100%. Now it's a 99%. So these are the things. Peyton, thank you so much for joining the show. 99 episodes. Oh my God. Is there anything you want to let people know? Mysterious Ways movie, obviously, is still making the film
Yeah,
festival circuit. There's always opportunities. Anything
at the
else you want to mention?
time, yeah, at the time this comes out, it's probably premiering at an Atlanta horror film festival right now. I forget when you were wanting to upload this, but I believe the 12th of October.
Oh my gosh, this will come out October 7th. So if you're in the
Oh my
Atlanta
gosh.
area, if you're in the Atlanta area on the 12th, just a couple days from now, you could go see Mysterious Ways movie.
Yeah.
We're talking about watching horror movies in October. There you go.
Yeah, and I finally have seen the completed thing. Like I was seeing like so many like almost there cuts. I have finally seen the whole thing put together and I've been hearing feedback from it and it's hilarious. I know we're talking about horror comedy and that's what it is. is it's a horror comedy with some religious commentary on being brought up in like really heavily Christian
Yeah,
households. And I personally was not brought up in a heavily Christian household. It was a Christian household, and I went to church every Sunday
sure.
and everything. And I had people around me that were that way, though.
Yeah, I
And
was gonna
so just
say,
kind of
yeah.
poking fun at that. It was a lot of fun. I knew exactly what we were trying to do and everything. And it's just a good time.
So you can see it in Atlanta and at Mysterious Ways Movies on Instagram if you want to follow and see if it'll be playing at a film festival near you or what. Who knows? The sky's the limit for one Peyton Grufik. Lots of other things. Peyton, thank you so much for joining the show.
Thank you. Had a blast.
All right, that's our show. I'd like to thank Peyton Grufik for joining me this week. Next week, as we celebrate 100 episodes, John Leon and Alex McKellar will join me in studio to discuss Joker, Folie Adieu.
Woo, yeah!
Thank you, James Earl Jones. I'm Sam Carrico. Make sure you tune in Monday, 10:30 p.m. Central Time, Tuesday morning, wherever you get your podcasts. I'll see you then.
I really like that. Thank you, James Earl Jones.